Today's Leading Women episode 381 with the wonderful Cherissa Jackson.
Women all over the world, get ready for inspiring and empowering interviews from women at the top of their field who are kicking butt in their business and who are prepared to share shocking revelations from being in the limelight. You are now listening to Today's Leading Women with Marie Grace Berg.
Podcast your passion. Yes, did you know you can podcast your passion, make a difference, and make money talking about what you love talking about? That's how I get to do what I'm doing, talking to wonderful women every day here at Today's Leading Women. Want to learn how I did it? Go to podcastyourpassion.com. That's www.podcastyourpassion.com. Yes, women of the world, let's get started. I am delighted to introduce you our amazing guest for today, Cherissa Jackson. Cherissa Jackson is a retired Air Force nurse with 14 years of nursing experience and have been deployed 4 times. She has a legal nurse consulting business geared at consulting attorneys with medical-related cases. Being the expert, she helps them win their cases and get the settlement resolved quickly. So, women of the world, Miss Cherissa Jackson, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Maria. I'm so blessed and honored to be here, and I feel so privileged that you asked me to come on the show today to be an inspiration to young entrepreneurs and just women entrepreneurs out there. So thank you, Maria, for allowing me to be on the show today.
Well, it's an honor. I'm delighted to have you on the show, and I'm sure our listeners are as well. So, Cherissa, I really love what you're doing with your business. You are a success in your own right. You put in the effort, the sweat equity, the knowledge and experience to build a special business you call your own. As a result of that, our listeners really want to get to know you, and I want to provide that conduit, that bridge between you and our listeners. So here are some cool questions that we can talk about. Feel free to comment anytime about them, but these are just general questions I have in mind.
Okay.
So let's start with your business. There might be people out there who want to start one, have no clue how to go about it. Can you tell us more about your business and the idea behind that niche?
Yeah, I tell you, my business is legal nurse consultant, is Jackson and Associates. And on my 4th deployment to Afghanistan, I was sitting in a bunker and I was like, if I survive and I get back home safely, what do I want to do with my life? I knew that I was going to retire when I got back. I knew I needed to figure out what I wanted to do with my life when I got back. I knew that I had 23 years of military experience and 14 years of nursing experience and a whole bunch of critical care, trauma, consulting experience. I'm like, how do I pool all this together and do something for myself when I got back? And sure enough, thankfully, I got back safe to my kids. And I decided to launch my own business, Jackson and Associates Legal Nurse Consulting. I thought it would be a good way to kind of like bridge all of my nursing experience, plus be an advocate for patients, plus be that resource, that expert to attorneys. And so to me, as I continue to think what I wanted to do and how I wanted to portray it and what I wanted it to look like, it just became a no-brainer that becoming a consultant in the medical field, helping attorneys was the best way to go.
Wow, I love what I'm hearing about your business. I mean, your story, how you birthed this idea into what it is right now. And kudos to you. We honor you and salute you for being part of, life-saving, I can't even get a word out. I mean, being deployed in other countries for the sake of our freedom. You and the rest of the veterans out there, we salute you for your bravery, for your courage, for putting yourself out there on the line. Wow, what an inspiration. And now you didn't end there. You now continue to merge your experience and expertise and helping these attorneys with medical cases, helping them with your expertise in the medical field as well as your experience. What a great honor. What an inspiring story that you have there. But what continues to inspire you doing this business?
I tell you, outside of being that advocate, as nurses, we have that caring mentality. We want to take care of people. And I truly became an advocate for not only for my patients, but for my soldiers. And now that I have a legal nurse consulting business, I can use that expertise to help medical malpractice attorneys, personal injury attorneys, product liability attorneys, and help them see the things in their cases that I can expeditiously show them that can help win settlements. And I think the inspiration behind that is the fact that at the end of the day, I want to create a legacy for my daughters. I'm a single parent of twin daughters. They're very successful in college. They are juniors. One is taking up nursing. The other is a business administration major. And I really, truly want to create that legacy for my daughters. I'm the first business owner in my family. So I take that challenge very seriously because I want to be that inspiration to my family to know that they too can be business owners. But just the fact that I have given myself to my country for 23 years, and I vowed to show my daughters that they can do anything, and there's absolutely nothing that's impossible. I really use that to continue to inspire me and to build and grow my business.
Wow, what a compelling vision and inspiration that one is. I mean, to continue being an advocate for your patients, for the soldiers that you serve, for these attorneys that you've served, and as well as create a legacy for your twin daughters. Congratulations for having twin daughters.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, must be a great experience. But the thing is that, for our listeners, it's really important to create that inspiration for yourself. What is the meaning of what you're putting out there? Why are you doing this business? Why are you in this business? And let's be inspired with what Cherissa just shared with us, her compelling vision, her compelling inspiration, because it starts from knowing what we want to do, what inspires us to do or what we do, because that's going to strengthen us in the days that we're going to be facing those challenges building a business, because there are going to be ups and downs of being in a business. But when you have this inspiration, it will give you the strength and direction to keep pushing forward and moving forward. So great takeaway there.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
All right, now let's talk about when you started your journey as entrepreneur. I'd love for you to share our listeners what are some of your top 3 personal qualities or traits that help you become a successful entrepreneur that our listeners can learn from.
I tell you that the 3 personal traits, and it's something that I also tell my daughters, and I kind of list it as OPP. And O stands for optimistic, P stands for persistence, and 3 stands for perseverance. And not only did I use this in building my business and for it to be successful, but also for my personal life. I had to always, as a single parent, be optimistic in knowing that I had to make sure the girls were taken care of. I had to be taken care of. And in the military, as a single parent, that's often difficult when you're charged to go and to different locations and charged to go to deploy, that you have to remain optimistic that you're going to get through those challenges, not only from the business perspective, but personal perspective. Being persistent. I mean, no matter what obstacle I face, going to different locations, being told no, things not going the way that I wanted to go, I stayed persistent. And I knew at the end of the day, someone will open their doors. I had to stay motivated. I had to stay engaged. I had to stay dedicated. And the last one, perseverance. I mean, if you know how strong you are inside, no matter what happens to you externally, you can persevere through anything. And my life is filled with challenges and obstacles that I had to persevere through in order to get where I am today. So those are the 3 personal traits, not only that I use to encourage myself, but I also tell anybody that come along my path that you use OPP, optimism, persistence, and perseverance, and it'll get you through anything.
Wow, I love that mnemonic, OPP. Need to stress that one enough. I mean, optimism, persistence, perseverance, these personal qualities and traits that Cherissa just shared with us. The good news is that we can all cultivate and adapt them in our lives. Having that optimistic attitude, having that persistent attitude, not giving up, perseverance, keep pushing forward no matter what challenges or circumstances that come along your way. These traits and qualities, let's all cultivate them and adapt them in our lives, because that would help us long ways. Now, let's
Absolutely.
talk about what happened when you started your journey as entrepreneur. As entrepreneurs, we face daily challenges that define our being, and to get through those challenges takes a very special person, and our audience wants to know that special person in you. So, what have been your biggest challenges building your business, and how have you addressed or overcame those barriers to success that a lot of women entrepreneurs face today?
I tell you, the three biggest challenges I have, particularly moving from being a soldier, being in the military, being a military nurse, to now being a civilian business owner. The military ingrains in you service before self. And that is so embedded in me that it sometimes causes a challenge of work life balance because I can push myself until the job gets done. And then when I wake up one day and be like, what have I done for myself? That work life balance is kind of unbalanced. And so one of the challenges I had, and still sometimes is faced with, is work life balance. And the thing that I've done and continue to do to overcome that challenge is to just take a pause. Sometimes I have to just give myself a timeout and say, Cherissa, today is the day that you're not going to worry about the business. You're not going to do anything business. You're going to take a pause. You're going to take a timeout. You're going to come back. You're going to re-engage. You're going to regroup. And then when I do come back, I come back even more fired up. I come back even more energetic, and I come back even more engaged. So that's one of the challenges that is ongoing, but I've found a solution to that. But it's definitely one of the challenges that I've faced. But like I said, I have found a solution for that. Another challenge I have is just being patient. As young entrepreneurs, you want things to happen a month down the road, 2 months down the road, and it really doesn't happen that way. I wish someone had told me that a long time ago, but it's the art of patience. I had to realize that Rome was not built in a day. It takes time to build relationships. It takes time just to build your niche. It takes time to build a strategy, and it's not going to happen overnight. So one of the things that I've done to just ensure that I'm patient is, again, to take that step back and say, breathe. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It may not even happen next week, but it will happen with OPP. But it's that patience piece that was a challenge because I wanted to get it done. I had an end date. And when that end date came and it left, I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? I am not where I want to be. But as soon as I allowed myself to just center around patience and let patience come into play and just relax and just do what I'm supposed to do and stay faithful, that patience allowed me to get those clients, talk to those attorneys, doors start opening. And the last challenge was, again, adjusting to civilian life. Sometimes when you're taken out of your comfort zone, you're having to adjust. And I had to adjust to not being as structured and not being as regimented. In the military, you know what you're doing 24 hours a day. You have a set schedule, you know how to do it, you know when to do it, you know how it has to get done. And after 23 years, that's what I'm used to. But when you convert over into the civilian world, things are not as structured or as regimented. So I had to find that it's okay not to be as structured. It's okay not to be regimented. However, I still had to adhere to my goals and make sure my goals were obtained. And so it was a challenge in the beginning, but I think just knowing that it was an adjustment and having to adjust is what I needed to do. And once I got it and once I made it happen, it was easier for me to just transition a little bit more smoothly.
Yes, wow. I mean, these challenges that you've shared with us, I'm sure we can all relate from that, especially for those our listeners who have been to the military or have had experience with this and having that structured or regimented routines. And that when you have your own business, you are your own boss. And you have to be okay with that structuring your day according to how you want it. And having the patience, it boils down again to the OPP, optimism, persistence, perseverance. Realize that it takes time to build a business. It takes time. It there's no such thing as overnight success, as they used to say. It takes time to build a business. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes our passion and drive. So really have to be patient in overcoming that impatience that we have. And of course, maintain this work-life balance. I mean, I struggle with it on a daily basis, but like what Cherissa just shared with us, it's all about taking time out. Take time for a break, have a pause. And then it's really important to make time for yourself to kind of pull yourself again and then realize that, okay, it's not just work and work and work and work. We have to make time for those other areas of our lives that are important as well. And I love for you to touch more about this, because as a segue to this, we're going to be talking about work-life balance. And one of the tips that you've shared with us is taking time out. It's really important on that. But what are the other ways that you deal with this work-life balance, especially in terms of your health, your family, your relationships, and your business?
As far as health, I make sure I work out. In the military, we always stay very fit, and I continue that after I got the military. So I make a conscious effort to at least work out. It rejuvenates me. It keeps the juices flowing. It helps mentally to prepare me for the next challenge. And so I've found that working out really helps me with my work-life balance. And when I haven't gotten one of those workouts in, my body, my mind, my spirit is all affected by it. So I have to make sure I stay in alignment with getting my workouts in, making sure I eat right. I'm a paleo eater. And so that really keeps my body healthy. I feel like I'm getting the best options for my body in, and I'm making sure that I eat right, and it all ties in together with creating that work-life balance. I'm eating right, I'm working out, and it just keeps me centered and it keeps me grounded. As far as family, again, my daughters are away in college, but I make sure that we have our bi-weekly or weekly lunches. I make sure they and I go to church on a regular basis. I make sure that I have relationships with people outside of work. I make sure I have relationships with my siblings. I have 5 siblings, and I'm so grateful that my parents are still living. So I make sure I engage in conversations and visits with them to ensure that I have that balance, because I don't want to stay locked up and all do business and no play, because then you find yourself altering your work-life balance, and you're not centered and you're not grounded. As far as relationships are concerned, I make sure I am all about the quality of a relationship and not about quantity. I try to center myself around like-minded people and business-minded people. The days of just going out and partying and doing the frivolous things that we did in our 20s and 30s is not what I'm into. So I just make sure I center myself around quality people who are anchors for me when I have those days that are not the best days, and they're able to inspire and motivate me. And in turn, that helps me with my work-life balance, having those healthy meals and working out, having that family support that says, you can do anything, there's nothing impossible, and having those relationships that are quality driven and not quantity driven.
Wow, you seem to have nailed down this work-life balance that a lot of us struggle with. I mean, I really love that you shared those tips with us. I mean, staying in shape, making a conscious effort to work out, that's really important, because I find that one really helpful for me as well too. It really helps me, it really energizes me and really helps me focused and be clear on what it is that I want to accomplish on that day. And yes, I'm a big fan of eating paleo or primal, avoiding those commercial foods, avoiding those unhealthy ingredients, eating as natural as possible. It's all about eating healthy, and of course, these are the foundation of our health. I mean, eating healthy, working out, sleeping, having some downtime for yourself not only energizes you physically, emotionally, but mentally as well. So it's really important to make time for this and make it deliberate so you are able to do them. And of course, not to forget to make time with our family, with our loved ones, with the relationships, nurturing those relationships that we have. with quality people, spending time with them. And like what Cherissa just said, it's not about the quantity, but the quality of time that you spend with them. Great takeaways there that we can all adapt in our lives in terms of this work-life balance. So thanks for sharing those. Now, let's talk about success and what success means to you. Your business appears to be financially doing quite well, and with that success flows into other areas in the entrepreneur's life. Now, would like to also say that success is a mindset. I can have $10 in my pocket, but my mind feels like a millionaire. I feel great about myself and I'm moving forward. The opposite way will be a multi-billionaire and be totally miserable. So am I successful? Financially, yes. Individually, probably not. So in your journey as an entrepreneur, what does success mean to you, and what are some of the benchmarks that you use to measure your success?
Success for me means more than monetary, because you're absolutely right. You can have millions of dollars and you can be unhappy. So I measure success based on three components: based on how happy am I in the moment, how fulfilled am I in the moment, and how excited am I in the moment. And if I tap into all three of those things, to me, if I stay on target with being happy, being fulfilled, and being excited, to me, that's success in my business. Because I would never want to be in no state of mind where I'm unhappy, I'm not fulfilled, or I'm not excited, because that doesn't allow me to do the things I feel my purpose is, which is to inspire, motivate, and encourage people along the way. So the benchmarks that I set for myself to make sure that I'm happy, fulfilled, and excited is to set goals that are not only obtainable, but set goals that are sometimes challenging. And in doing so, if I meet those goals and I'm happy, excited, and fulfilled, that says to me, I am successful. And in turn, if you continue to meet those goals towards the success of your business, the money will come. And so I made sure when I launched Jackson and Associates Legal Nurse Consulting that I was not going to chase the money. I felt as though if I built a practice based on just fulfilling those three components, that the money will come. And so I never chased how many attorneys I can get. I never chased how many paralegals or how many contacts I was going to have. I chased what connection can I get? And with those connections, are these connections going to be the things that will make me successful, which is the happiness, the fulfillment, and the excitement. So goal setting was definitely one of the benchmarks that I made sure I was doing a daily check on to ensure I was making those goals and reaching those perspectives. The second thing is definitely always staying engaged, because sometimes if you're chasing the dollars and you're wanting to be financially sound and you're wanting to be financially stable, you forget about being current in what you're doing and being fulfilled in what you're doing. And I think you have to take that pause and regroup and say, is this truly the direction that I want my business to go in? Because how you start doesn't always mean how you're going to end. So my benchmark has always been just to step back, regroup, and make sure my business stays in alignment with how I started and how I'm going to end.
Well, I love your perspective on success. Success is about how happy, fulfilled, and excited I am in the moment. Great perspective, because I truly believe also that success at the end of the day, what truly makes us happy is that are we happy with what we're doing? Are we fulfilled in what we're doing, what we're putting out there? Are we excited in what we're doing? Those are the intangible benefits of being in business. And of course, we are in business to be profitable, to sustain our business. But at the end of the day, what really fulfills us are those intangible benefits. Truly agree on what you've just shared with us, and what a beautiful perspective we have that you shared along with us. Now, let's talk about one of the highlights of our show, and that's your advice for other entrepreneurs and those aspiring to be, especially to those who want to follow your footsteps. You obviously got some lessons learned under your belt of experience, so take it back to the past. Say you're going to start all over again as an entrepreneur and you are in a class with other entrepreneurs who are hungry and thirsty for success or even for making that first buck. What types of special suggestions or advice and lessons that you learn would you give your fellow entrepreneurs, knowing where you came from and where you headed at? And if you can boil them down to your top 3 tips or advice, what would those 3 be?
I would say, first and foremost, you have to channel what your true purpose is. Again, my true purpose I knew 14 years ago was to be an advocate, was to help somebody. And so launched a business that allowed me to stay true to that passion and stay true to that purpose. So horning in on that true divine purpose and that true divine desire to do what you know in your heart of hearts, to stay true to yourself, that is what you want to ensure that you are in check with every single day. Stay true to yourself, stay true to your purpose. The second thing would be I say this a lot, stay surrounded by people who are positive. Stay surrounded by people who are encouraging and motivating. And then it'll become contagious. Then you become motivated and then you encourage someone else and you motivate somebody else. So being centered around people who may not technically know your vision, may not like your vision, but they can still encourage you and still give you some positivity. I found that when you center yourself around negative folks or people who don't get it, don't understand it, or discouraging folks, you tend not to have that drive and that motivation to do what is innately planned for your life. And so staying around positive people, staying focused on your true divine purpose are 2 key components and 2 advice that I would give entrepreneurs. The third advice I would give to entrepreneurs, and this is something that I've recently discovered, which has been a major help to me, is having a mentor. And that mentor can either be a spiritual mentor, a friend, a business mentor. What's been very successful for me is having a business mentor. I mean, again, my background is medical. My background has been being a nurse, and I was in the military. That was my background. So coming out of my comfort zone of being a business owner and being a young entrepreneur, it was important for me to have that business coach because, again, you're hungry and you're eager and you're excited and you want to make the best decisions. You don't want to waste your time on things that's not in alignment with, your strategy. And having a business mentor will be that person that can say, you know what, maybe that is not the right, product for you, or maybe that's not the right path you should take at this moment. And so a business mentor has really allowed me to make better decisions, stay focused, stay grounded, stay on the right path to success, because these are, other business owners who have been successful. And you want to always align yourself with other people who are successful. It's good to be surrounded by entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs that's hungry and excited, but you want to also have that leader. You want to also have that mentor who is already where you want to be, because then you have that aspiration to be where that person wants to be. If everybody is on the same level, if everybody's on the same page, you have nothing to aspire to. But if you have a mentor who is where you want to be, you're going to work even harder to get to where that person is or where you want to be. So those will be the 3 things. Just stay engaged, stay true to yourself, stay true to your purpose, stay around positive people, find that mentor that can help you with business success. And, just know that you want to have some type of inspiration and somebody that can inspire you to go higher and be bigger.
Wow, I was so hooked into listening to every word that you just shared because you had some really golden nuggets in what you just shared with us. So let me just summarize them again for our listeners. So the first one is to stay true to yourself, to your purpose, to your passion. And then the second one is to stay surrounded with people who are positive, who are encouraging, people who are moving the same direction as you. And then the third one is to have a mentor. I cannot stress this enough. If it not for my mentor, John Lee Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I'm really big on having a mentor who is already where you want to be, who is already successful, because it's not only going to be able to shortcut your learning curve, but it's also going to be able to inspire you, to encourage you, to hold you accountable to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. So great tip there, great advice to really, especially for our listeners out there who are just starting out, especially if you think that you don't want or you don't need or you can't afford it. It's really important to understand the power of having a mentor. It really shortcuts your learning curve. So great takeaways there, great tips. I'll make sure to have this on our show notes. So for our listeners out there, I'm going to make sure to have this on our show notes so you can reference on them, and then let's take action on these tips that Cherissa just shared with us. Last but not the least, Cherissa, I'd love for you to share our listeners what's one big benefit that they can get with your product or your service, where they can get it, and what's the best way that our listeners can connect with you, and then we'll end from there.
Wonderful. Thank you. I would say the biggest benefit that attorneys, paralegals, anybody who is needing help with a medical related case, again, medical malpractice attorneys, product liability attorneys, personal injury attorneys, it's the fact that you're going to get the optimum customer service. Having been in the military for 23.5 years and 14 days, you're going to get that disciplinarian, you're going to get that structure, you're going to get that person that's motivated to get the job done. I am a true advocate, and my motto in my business at Jackson and Associates is service before self. So I will go above and beyond to ensure the product that I produce for you is of optimum quality, to ensure that your settlements are done quickly, and that anything that you ask of me is of high quality and of high standards. The best place for anybody that's listening to actually reach out to me is on my website, and it's www.jacksonnurseconsultants.com. I also have an email, and that's Cherissa Jackson at jacksonnurseconsultants.com. And that's at cjackson@jacksonnurseconsultants.com. I'm also on Twitter. I normally tweet with other attorneys and other firms that I've done business with to stay engaged with the different topics. And I have a Twitter handle of CJCHERISSA. And thank you so much, Maria. I appreciate the opportunity. I hope, again, my overall goal has been in life to motivate, inspire, and encourage anybody. So I'm hoping your listeners are encouraged, inspired, and motivated by my story. And I hope they reach out to me.
Well, thank you. And that's JacksonNurseConsultants.com. You can reach her via email at Cherisse@JacksonNurseConsultants.com. I'll make sure to have this on our show notes, and I highly encourage you, our listeners, to go there now. On her website, JacksonNurseConsultants.com, and at a minimum, be on her newsletter so you can be updated on what she's putting out there. And if you are in her industry, the legal, the paralegal, malpractice type, I highly encourage you to check on her products and services and jump in. Be on her newsletter so you can be updated on what she's putting out there. Again, that link is JacksonNurseConsultants.com, or you can reach her via email at Cherissa@JacksonNurseConsultants.com. And by the way, all of these resources and the links that are mentioned in today's podcast will be made available in a beautiful infographic show notes at todaysleadingwomen.com/Cherissa Jackson, or just type in her name on the search bar and it will find it for you. Again, that link is JacksonNurseConsultants.com. Cherissa, thank you so much for being so generous in sharing your time and your inspiring story, your expertise, for being a role model to many, and for bringing such a positive energy with our listeners today. Women of the world, including me, appreciate you and wish you more success in business and in your life.
Thank you so much, Maria. I'm so pleased to have shared my story with you today, and I'm pleased to be here to be able to speak with the listeners out there. And I'm encouraged and I'm excited to hear from them, and I'm encouraged and excited to hear from you in the near future as well.
All right, TLW listeners, did you love this episode? Here's your chance to recommend or vote for your favorite Today's Leading Woman. Here's how to do it. Step number 1, After you listen to this episode, go to todaysleadingwomen.com/my iTunes. Step number 2, click the rate and review button. Step number 3, say that you love listening to Today's Leading Women podcast. Step number 4, type in the name of your favorite Today's Leading Woman. Example, Sheryl Sandberg of Facebook, Arianna Huffington of Huffington Post, Oprah of Oprah Winfrey Network. You get it, right? Step number 5, type your first name and where you are listening from. Every day, I will personally go through all of your ratings and reviews and scour the names of your favorite Today's Leading Women. You will get to be featured as TLW Fan of the Day with your name and where you're listening from. And you'll be the first one to get notified when your favorite Today's Leading Woman is featured on the show. Fair enough? Awesome. Go to todaysleadingwomen.com/my iTunes. That's www.todaysleadingwomen.com/my iTunes.
Feeling inspired and empowered to make it happen? Then take the next step and go get your free guide to the top 10 resources that today's leading women use to stay at the top of their game, plus Marie's favorite today. Visit todaysleadingwomen.com/guide for your free download, and we'll see you on the next episode of Today's Leading Women with Marie Grace Berg.